Son of a bitch. Is that Debbie telling me? Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. Can you imagine if I'd kept going? Thank you, Debbie. Marianne, what's up? Okay, what was I saying? Well, I was trying to see if I could change the fonts for when I pull stuff up, but apparently you have to have a premium StreamYard account. Apparently $44 a month isn't enough. But that's that. Don't really care anymore. Yeah, today has been a day. Oh my gosh. So I had to cover for our other attorney. So I had to do 6 closings, which wasn't bad. It's just some of them took much longer than they should have, and that's really annoying. Let's see. Where's Lee at? 486. Jason's here, the resident black pillar. Yeah. There was a NASCAR champion and his family that died in a plane crash today in North Carolina. That really sucks. It looks like it was just, I don't know if it was user error or some other issue, but it didn't look like it was, what do you call it? Air traffic issues or something like that. I think it was probably just some sort of malfunction with the plane. I don't know if we know yet. Do we? Does anyone know? Okay. The other thing I need to do is I think I need to make this a little brighter. Ooh, whoa, that is super bright. Okay. That's better. Okay. I like the light being behind my computer and not over there. Yeah, it's been a busy day. I tried to get so much more work done today, and I just couldn't because I kept having to run between closings and run from one office to the other. Not fun. We do have a little bit of a fun thing we're going to do real quick. So I like to do this on streams when I have the opportunity to, but we've got a reply on one of our videos that we're going to reply to. I do want to check that. Oh, no held comments. That's funny. Okay, so none of these are private or anything, so I don't feel too bad sharing my screen here. It is. We're going to do a little bit of trolling. So a lot of people watched this video already. I hope y'all did. If you haven't, go watch it. I think it's rather quite good. But it was a video about how Tim Walz is basically reigned over or governed over some of the worst fraud perpetrated by citizens of a state in 100 years. Like it is generally some of the worst fraud perpetrated against the federal government and against state-funded programs that I think we've ever seen. And I think we all are kind of aware of similarities among those committing the fraud. So how should we start this? Now, y'all behave. No coming over here to the video and antagonizing. We're going to leave the antagonizing to me. It's my channel. No proof. Let's see. No proof, you say. And stories about this in the last 2 weeks. But hey, I understand if are too slow or simple to actually read for yourself. Maybe you have one of those special moments too. Enjoy the next 3 years and the 8 after that with President Vance. I think that's pretty good. What do y'all think? Merry Christmas, Billy. Thank you, Jay. We're gonna go with that. I hope he enjoys that. I hope he replies. I love when they reply. It's so much fun. Well, I can exit that now. JDV meme. Yes. Oh, that would be pretty fun. I'm gonna leave that up and just kind of refresh. Now, they replied 7 hours ago, so I'm assuming that they're probably not sitting there waiting. If they are, then they've got a real problem. Okay, where to start today? So it's the 18th. We've got a couple days left in the month. Obviously, we're all going to have a really great Christmas this week, or this upcoming week. Oh, you know what? Let's start with that. So, Donald Trump today signed an executive order that I'm wondering if it's going to give me a day off. Oh, I don't think hang on. Eric, what's his name, had it. Eric Doherty. Nope. I'm looking for it. Stand. What's this? Oh man, we're gonna be talking about Minnesota for a while now, aren't we? So Lee, I sort of agree. Here we go. Okay. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order declaring Christmas Eve and December 26th federal holidays. Obviously, this means that federal employees will be off on the 26th as well, next Friday. But I'm wondering if it's going to allow a lot of us to be off as well. So right now, for me, I work on the 26th. But that's because banks are going to be open on the 26th. So if banks are closed, I might get like a big old break, which would be awesome. Because, this thing, it kind of sucks to have 2 days, to have Wednesday and Thursday off, and then you got to go back to work Friday. No one's going to get anything done on Friday. What I need to do is I need to shoot my boss a message. See, the problem is there's a lot of like liberal people in law now, and I don't want to send an email or a message being like, "Hey, President Trump," and then they're like, "Whoa, why are you talking about Trump?" You know, TDS and shit. So I might just give her a call so that there's nothing in writing. Oh, I saw this. This is great. Trump is such a big heart. He's flying thousands of illegals home to be with their families. That's funny. But yeah, so Lee, I totally get what you're saying. There are a lot of federal holidays. But there aren't a lot of federal holidays that people just have off. Like, I don't really know a lot of people that have well, actually, no, because he got rid of Juneteenth, didn't he? So I don't think we have Juneteenth off anymore. So now we can have this day off. It's a push. KC, what's up? How you doing? Is everything going well, KC? I know you were going through some stuff, so I just want to make sure you're doing okay. Just drop a thumbs up if you can. What's up? Elite Super Grunt and Sean saying, I don't think he can. It was legislate. Oh, that's a good point. It was in some bullshit law they passed. Dumbasses. Whores. We got another executive order signed today that we will return to the moon by 28. We will establish parts of a lunar outpost by 30 in preparation for journeys to Mars. That'd be pretty cool. I'd love to go back. Yeah, so that's the thing as well. So normal people, people that are working fast food, people who are working food and bev, retail, not most office jobs, but some office jobs, they won't get these days off. But what they will get is they will get holiday pay, which is ×2. So I would take it. When I was doing data entry, and we had the option to take the holiday or take the 8 hours, I would always take I would always work because I wanted to get the overtime. I wanted the double time. I was always a big fan of that. I watched the first season. I never got back into it. So he signed that. He did sign the executive order on that. So here's my issue with this, okay? Hang on. I am sick and tired of driving down the road or sitting here in my home, in my apartment, and smelling it. I don't want that shit. I'm tired of smelling it. So if you want to go, smoke it in your home, not interfere with me, you know what? Honestly, that's fine. Until you start interfering with me, that's when I give a shit. It's the same thing with marriage. Honestly, I don't really give a shit at the end of the day. I don't care who you want to have sex with, who you want to marry, any of that shit. But the second you start telling me what I have to believe or what I have to agree to is when I start saying, get the fuck out of here. Look, the LGBT lobby won. I'm sorry, the LG lobby won in 2010. They won. They got everything they wanted. And then they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Well, you know what? You are one Supreme Court decision away from getting fucked. That's where I'm at with it. So you want, and honestly, these people need to do the same stuff that all the other groups, all the other special interests need to do as well. You need to start policing. Stop making the thing that annoys, at least for me, the thing that annoys most people about the LGBTQAI blah 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 lobby is you have people who make it the only thing about them. And when the only thing the only character you have, the only personality that you have is based off of what you do in the bedroom, you're a loser. Can you imagine if the only thing I talked about was, I'm trying to be a little discreet here. Whatever. It's just so annoying, and that's how I feel about pot. Is that you've got people that the only thing that they do, the only thing that they're interested in is pot, and they ruin it for everyone else. Because at the end of the day, that's the only face of the lobby I see. So it makes me want to not like that lobby. Casey also said it's still illegal. It just makes it easier for doctors to prescribe it. I'm wondering legally, how does the laws change now that Schedule 3 is still a felony? Isn't it? I think Schedule 3 drugs are still felonies. Possession of a Schedule 3 drug. Why do you want to know where I am? Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it depends on the state, county, stuff like that. A location of where you were caught with it. So if you're caught with a level 3 drug next to like a school, yeah, that's going to be a lot worse for you. But Schedule 3, what's in Schedule 3? Tylenol with codeine, ketamine, anabolic steroids, testosterone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of this would still give you a felony. But I think you also have to be caught with a lot of it. I think you have to be caught with 90 milligrams or more. So yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as Schedule 1. You know, you're gonna have people that are walking around with, some grams and stuff like that aren't gonna be in nearly as much trouble as they would now, or as they would have been, weeks ago. But yeah, so I don't think it's going to change current prison sentences. But going forward, yeah, it will change your prison sentence. Because you'd be guilty of a different felony or a different charge. So you'd get less time. So this is so funny. This is really funny. I've never smoked. I have never, literally the only vice I have is alcohol. And I do not mind cigarette smoke nearly as much, but I also think it's because I'm used to it, because I have some friends that smoke, and what I would go down with them. So we had this one job I had. Two of my friends smoked. Well, one of them smoked, and the other one was kind of like, "Hey, if I have a beer, I'll smoke." And so every now and then, when we would go get lunch, I would go down with one of them outside, and we'd sit around for a little bit and go get lunch. But while we sat around, he'd smoke a cigarette. So I guess there's a little bit of that like Pavlov relationship now, which is kind of funny. It really is. It really is. All right. So, yes. And this has been the thing for the entire time that there's been any sort of conversation on legalization of marijuana. It is still illegal at the federal level, but the federal government has already said in many cases, if you're caught with it in a state where it's decriminalized or legalized, they are not going to spend the money going after you unless you're caught with a certain amount of weight, because then it's trafficking and intent to distribute, which is pretty damn bad. So yeah, Casey's right. He's changed the schedule. That is going to change, like I said earlier, that is going to change a lot of what any charge would be coming out in the next couple of days. But it hasn't legalized it federally. It hasn't decriminalized it. He's just changed the schedule to make it probably closer to what it should have been all along. What's up, Wiley? How you doing, man? Casey thinks it smells like burnt coffee beans. I don't burn my coffee beans, so I don't know. I think the Obama DEA went after specific growers that weren't following California's rules. I remember something about this. And I know one of the growers they went after was they were growing, so you were allowed to grow a certain amount of acres or hectares or something. And they were growing more than what their license gave them to grow. And that's what the DEA went after. It wasn't the entire thing. They went after the overages, basically. Sorry, I'm waiting to see if I get an answer about the 26th, because that would just be so great. 5 days. That would be 2 weeks in a row that I have 5 days off. Beautiful. What's this? Oh, I love Twitter. I love it so much. Even when it was liberal as hell, I still loved it. I put out a few rotisserie fires. Trust me on this one. Well, they also say that chestnuts roasting on open fire is actually disgusting as well. So let's talk about this. So Donald Trump has seized an oil vessel that was a sanctioned oil vessel that was coming out of Venezuela. And yesterday he ordered a blockade of these oil vessels. Now the president of Venezuela, Maduro, something like that, has ordered the Navy of Venezuela to protect these vessels. If anyone is... Hang on one second. Uh, 1982. So to remember something in 1982, you'd have to have been born in what? 1975, let's say. If there's anybody here that's 50 years or older, you don't have to say, but if there's anyone here that's 50 years or older, this probably sounds very familiar. And that's because you were alive and you remember the Falklands War between Britain and Venezuela. Actually, was it Venezuela or was that Chile? No, shit, it was Venezuela, wasn't it? No, it was Argentina. Argentina. That's who it was. Yeah, because Venezuela is too high up there. So Argentina and Britain had this little, let's call it a kerfuffle, 10-week little kerfuffle over 7 islands in the Atlantic called the Falkland Islands. And it started from a fucking blockade because the Argentinians set up a blockade, said, this is our land, you don't get to use it anymore. And if I remember correctly from the movie The Iron Lady, the British said fuck that and fired on the fucking Argentinian Navy. So that was pretty funny. But this just screams of the 1980s, back before we were involved with everything. Well, before we knew we were involved with everything, and Britain was still trying to cling onto that little bit of Pax Britannia. But that's funny. I think so. This is going to have, if anything happens because of this, this is going to have pretty crazy implications internationally, because you're going to have issues going on. Because there's no way, I'd have to see where we seized the ship, but there's no way we're going into Venezuela waters and taking these ships. I think they're getting out into international waters, and we're taking the ship then. We're seizing it then, which we're allowed to. But if the Venezuela Navy, which apparently we've got video of here. Fuck, that was loud. Oh, I mean, this is just a fucking Bradley vehicle. Look at these. Is this seriously their Navy? Like, they're just armor personnel carriers that can go in the water, probably 10-foot deep water. Yeah, like, if this is their Navy, you know what? I wonder if we can get a picture of 14-minute war. Man, 2.5 seconds. Tell me about the Venezuela. Shit, did I get that right? No, I missed the E. Oh, but that was kind of cool. Venezuela Navy. Let's see if I can see images of this. Okay, they've got what looks like some 1980s destroyers. Nothing that looks like the Zumwalt. Yeah. Can I find out the size of this Navy? So Google's AI is telling me that they are heavily reliant on older frigates, submarines, and patrol craft. They utilize fast attack craft with Iranian CM-90 anti-ship missiles. This is probably what we saw. Possesses landing ships and specialized river craft. And then backed by naval aviation and marine units. So you know how I know we're not concerned about this? So Okay, let's use this image here. So let's call this their version of the Great White Fleet. Okay, y'all remember what the Great White Fleet is? Theodore Roosevelt, as Secretary of the Navy, built up this giant fleet of battleships in the late 1800s, and said, "You know what we're going to do? We're going to sail them around the world and show the world what we can do." Thus began the era of the Pax Americana. So they've got that. Looks like, a couple destroyers, some sort of cruisers, things like that. I'm trying to find the right photo here, because there's so many good ones. Oh, I know which one I want. Oh, okay. This is awesome. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, this is so cool. This is probably my favorite picture of a United States naval vessel, if I can find it. I mean, that kind of works. Okay, we're going to have to use this one. So there's what they have. And courtesy of Reddit, we have 20 of these. So this or this. I don't know about you, but I'm going with this. Because one of these carries more planes than almost every single Air Force on the planet. They also have a lot of bombs and guns. And I think I saw KC mention something about our country is more registered guns than people. Invading our country would be a mistake, allegedly. And there's a beautiful quote about that by... So there's two. There's one from Hirohito, and says, you cannot invade mainland America. There will be a rifle behind every blade of grass. And I love that. And then there's another one. Hang on. Bonaparte. And then this one is from Abraham Lincoln. What do you mean? Interesting. It said, all the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined, with all the treasures of the earth, our own excluded, with a Bonaparte for a commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. Love that. Exactly. Hokies and Cornboy are right. They do not travel by themselves. So if we look at what I think it's the 5th Fleet that's currently deployed. Yep. So this is the 5th Fleet. Oh my God, that's terrible. Hang on. That's still, you can't even see the damn thing. I'm trying to find it, but oh well. So the Fifth Fleet alone's got 2 aircraft carriers. It's also got, I think it's got 3 aircraft carriers. One of the really old ones is in it. Like 3 or 4 Zumwalt destroyers and a bunch of support vessels. So, and now the Fifth Fleet is currently stationed over in the Middle East. The one that would be dealing with this dumbass is the Fourth Fleet. That's the one that encircles South America. They do. Yep. Thank you very much, Steven. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, that reminds me. Let's check to see if he replied. Oh, he did not. That's too bad. That would have been a lot of fun. I even checked to see if his reply just didn't get shared, but nope, he didn't reply. So Sean, I'm glad. Christian Rocker, what's up, man? So I'm glad you bring this up. Okay, I found something out literally 3 minutes before this stream started. So Canada, Canada's top general, General Jenny Kerrigan. Let's share this. Why is this so big? Stop. Do not clip that. I'm a dumbass. I deserve it. Okay, so this is Canada's top general, Jenny Kerrigan. She said, "We're ready for war." Well, I got a friend of mine that so I replied to this. What did I say? No, you aren't. I don't even know who they think they're ready for war against, and I still know the answer is no, you aren't. Stop. Behave, Christian Rocker. Christian Rocker, who gave me the name for the channel. I forgot, didn't you? So, buddy of mine is currently a contractor for one of our branches. I forget which one. I don't want to give too much information away. Replied to me telling me the Canadian military is so small right now. The U.S. military has to help patrol their skies because they can't handle it on their own. Canada is a very big country. So that's not that shocking. Also, when you consider the fact that we have the U.S. here, Canada, and then another part of the U.S. here, some of that makes sense. You know, it might make sense that the U.S. Air Force might have a deal with Canada, that we patrol this part of Canada between Alaska and the continental United States. But then he finishes by saying the Canadian Army has a serious recruiting problem right now. They had less than 100 enlistments in 2025. And I'm reading this because of what Sean said here. Remember, I just wondered that this administration hasn't yet had enough time to correct the damage the previous did to our military recruitment and personnel. This news is so damning when you consider that our administration came out 4 months ago, I believe. It might have been a little bit more. It might have been back in July, and told us that they had met the recruitment thresholds that they wanted for year 2026 already. Now, that's been 6 months. I don't know if that's ever been reconfirmed. You know, I think we have to admit that the administration exaggerates at times. Let's be honest. But if that's half true, I can guarantee you we don't need no 100 enlistments from Canada. He also followed it up by telling me that the German army only had 46 recruits in their entire year. There are, let's see, 83 million people in the country of Germany, and they couldn't find 50 to enlist in their military. Trump will absolutely get a carrier named after him. Absolutely. The question is, are they going to do it? I mean, there's a Gerald R. Ford class that should be coming up for naming in 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, I don't think they should do it while he's in office. I think J.D. Vance, I think that administration should do it. But, yeah, he'll absolutely get one named after him. And Clyde's right. Like and sub, or the U.S. is going to war, because I have that kind of power. Let's see. Just going through. So this doesn't surprise me. Okay. Now, I am curious. I know what's his name? Hesketh. I know Hesketh did his whole thing a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago where he brought all the generals in and admirals and said, we're getting back to a fit country, we're getting back to a fit military. All of this is being done. No more beardos. Haha. I would be interested to find out what part of the PT they're not getting, because I do know that there are people in at least the Guard. I'm sure there are people in the Army as well that they'll crush, the sit-ups, the push-ups, the pull-ups, all that, but they're just not good runners. And I know I got this one friend that he was going in for his recertification for PT in the South Carolina National Guard. And he gets his push-ups done in like, I don't know, I think it's like 50 in a minute or something like that. I genuinely cannot remember what it was. He beats it by like half a minute, or he did like an extra 20 or something like that, actually more than needed. He crushes the sit-ups and stuff, but then he goes to do the 3 mile run, and he misses it by like a minute and a half, something like that. Actually, I don't even think it was a minute. I think it was like 32 seconds. So I'd be curious to find out if that's what they're missing, if they're just not fast enough or something like that. I'd really be interested. I also do think that bringing the presidential fitness test bringing it back is going to do a lot. I remember I remember doing the presidential fitness test when I was in high school. Do you do that in high school or middle school? Or both? Yeah, I mean, I think I did both. I remember doing the mile run and whatever. I think you were at whatever age you were supposed to do the mile run in like 6 minutes 50 seconds. I think I did mine in like 6:20. I mean, it's been 20 years. I don't remember. Yeah, no, the presidential fitness test, absolutely. Yeah, that was a big part of being in middle school and high school when I was a kid. Um, yeah, well, I mean that's a huge part of that is because these recruiters, and they've been doing this for a long time. We've known they've done it for a long time, and from what I know, no one ever really calls them on it. But they're just trying to push numbers, and uh, it's really kind of annoying. Like I hate the stories where you hear, yeah, my recruiter told me I'd be able to go do this, but he made me sign this sort of contract. So I ended up just being like infantry or something. That always annoys me because you put that person you put that person already on an angry with his country or his army or something like that. And I don't think that's good. Um, but that might be me being a little, there's a little bit of liberal in all of us. It just depends on how much you let that little beast talk. Yeah. Elementary school. Yeah. So I remember doing it. I think I did in elementary school, or I did some sort of precursor to it. But yeah, you had the little the little thing that you had to like reach for flexibility. I think we did a jump for the what you call it. Stephen Brown says that in high school he had to do a 1.5 mile under 9:15. I did it while smoking. High school was cool in his day. Well, I don't think you should smoke and run, but I had it. Let's find out when they got rid of the presidential fitness test. It was discontinued by Obama. Yeah, imagine that. After the 2012-2013 school year, replaced by the Presidential Youth Fitness Program to focus more on lifelong health than competitive testing. Though it was brought back by executive order in 2025 under Trump. So what I would like to see is and I'm assuming based off of Google's description of the Presidential Youth Fitness Program, that this is what it was. I would like to see a marriage of those things. I think we need kids going through middle school, high school, elementary school, learning that, here's how you go to the gym. Here's how you do this kind of thing. Because I remember growing up, and even still kind of to this day, I'm not afraid of the gym. But one of the things that I hate about the gym, and I hate, obviously, I hate about most gyms and their designs is the way that they design a gym. It's always wide open. And I don't necessarily want people looking at me, or I don't want to sit there thinking that people are looking at me. I never had to do a rope climb. I never had to do that. I'm very glad about that. But what I think the health program, presidential fitness, any of that thing like that should be a focus on being active, but also understanding that just because you're out there running an hour a day or exercising an hour a day, which is what I think most aerobic exercise whatever will tell you, doesn't mean that you're healthy. And so here's where the other part comes in. Here's the stuff that you should eat. Here's why red meat is good for you. Here's why fast food and processed foods are bad for you. Things like that. Like that's what a full, well-rounded education system should do. But clearly I did not listen to mine. So I love that Sean says this. because I have a lot of examples of people that actually did join the Army and Marines and got some really good stuff out of their MOS. But what's so funny is my grandfather. So my grandfather was in Vietnam, and he. I need to talk to him about this because this is actually really fucking cool. So my grandfather was in Vietnam, and he was coming home from work. What is that? Vietnam's what, like 67, right? Yeah, I think he was coming from, because if you were in college, you got out of it, didn't you? So I think he was coming home from work, and he opened his mailbox, and there was the pink slip telling him to report to his nearest reserve or nearest Army recruiting station. So my grandfather, being the genius that he was, went, you know what? Close that. You know what? I'm going to go down to the Air Force recruiting station and go ahead and enlist. So he went down to the Air Force and enlisted, and then came home and went, oh, no. Grabbed the slip, went down to the Army recruiting station and said, hey, I just enlisted in the Air Force, and I came home and found this. And they were like, oh, you okay, good to go. So that was pretty cool. Yes, processed foods are bad for you. Oh, dude, not even decades. Every 7 years, they change their mind on eggs. From between when I was, hang on, why is Devontae Adams trending? Okay, he's out. He's out. That's why he's trending. Okay. Woo-hoo-hoo! I was concerned. We'll stop sharing here. Let's go back down to this. Casey's going into looker mode. As long as you're watching, entirely welcome. Clyde says that he tried to join the chair force, but he was too dumb. Air Force. It's okay. So, Christian Rocker, that's not necessarily a lie. Depending on what branch they were in, a lot of our branches have buddy systems where you're able to, I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're able to stay with your buddy for the entirety of your first contract. I know you're able to go to boot camp together. I don't know if you're able to like stay, and it probably depends on what path y'all take. So like if you end up doing, MOSs that are not at the same, what is it, ACI, AIS, something like that. If you're able to do that, then you can stay together. But if you all end up, if one guy wants to go be a paratrooper and another guy wants to go be a tanker, well, I don't think those are at the same schools or same bases. So, I'm happy, man. Whoop, whoop. I love being correct. Decades ago, so I don't know what it was like then. Okay, yeah. I think the buddy thing is something they instituted, or honestly, it probably goes in and out. I know they did during World War II. I believe they did during Vietnam, but it's probably one of those things where it just kind of depends on when you got in. Like if you get in when we're not really busy, then we probably don't do it. Oh. Whew. I've been talking a lot. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are. Jason, wake up, buddy, because I need your block pilling here. Dan Bongino is resigning his position in January. He said, I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, AG Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose.
Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and all those who defend her. Before we get on this, Sean's right that it was also dependent on if you were drafted versus enlisted. I don't know how I feel about this. So I think that let me start with what Kash Patel said. Okay. So Kash Patel said, Dan is the best partner I could have asked for in helping to restore this FBI. He brought critical reforms to make the organization more efficient, led the successful summer heat operation, served as the people's voice for transparency, and delivered major breakthroughs in long unsolved cases like the pipe bomb investigation. And that's only a small part of the work he went about every single day delivering for America. He has not only completed his mission, he far exceeded it. We will miss him, but I'm thankful he accepted the call to serve. Our country is better and safer for it. So before I see any chat, and I've moved the chat. I can't see it because I want to get this out first. I have the same problem with Kash Bogino that I have with Pam Bondi. Kash and Bogino went on television 5 months ago and gave this really, really stupid interview. And they hurt a lot of their credibility, probably ruined it forever. If that interview doesn't happen, I think the opinions that a decent number of people have on those two, are very different than they are today. I also think, and I'm aware of the fact that there is a lot of stuff that is happening at the FBI, that is happening in the FBI, that we're just not really aware of, or that doesn't get the press. In the same way that there's stuff that happens at the DOJ and with Pam Bondi every day that we're not aware of because it doesn't get the press. Pam Bondi's DOJ has won several Supreme Court cases that have helped President Trump get his vision and our vision that we voted for the most part, closer to getting there. Does that mean Pam Bondi's job is done or that she has done a great job? No, it does not. But it does mean that she is due some good job or some good job on that. That's where I think Patel and Bongino have failed in their, at least in their, what do you call it? Transparency. Let's go with that. I think that they have done a very bad job of telling us what they're doing. They should have spent, instead of Kash getting on Twitter once or twice and tweeting about finding these Adobe PDF documents or arresting these human traffickers, this should have been national television. We should have had perp walks, because not so that it looks like they're doing something when they're not, or that they can get the news to talk about that instead of Epstein or something like that, but so that we're actually aware of what they're doing. Okay, Twitter is great, and these people, Kash, Bongino, Trump, Bondi, they use it very well, but they also fail to keep in mind that one of the things we wanted to see was perp walks of these people that spent 8 years trying to destroy this country and turn it into an American version of what we're seeing in the UK and Europe. And that job is not done. And so I think for Bongino to leave with that job undone, when he told us that's what he was going there to do, I think he's really fucked up here. Now, I'm not going to pretend, and remember, guys, I still have the comments down. I still don't see them. I see there's 8 more new ones. I'm almost done. I'll get to that when I finish this. For Bongino to leave and sorry. I'm not going to act like I know what that job is like. He gave that one interview where he was basically saying, it's sort of that office is sort of a prison. Cash and I have offices right next to each other, and we are in them from like 6 in the morning until 7 at night. Okay. Yeah, they knew what they were getting into. Okay. It's I don't feel bad for them for that. Sort of like I don't really feel bad for a teacher when a teacher complains about not making a lot of money. Like, you knew what you were getting into. Should you make more money? Sure. Absolutely. I agree. But you knew what you were getting. Like, no one tricked you into this. And that's where I feel with this. Bongino gave the interview where he was kind of talking about the long days and stuff like that. And to his credit, he said, look, we knew what we were getting into. This is the stuff we campaigned for. This is why we wanted Trump to win. We wanted to fix this stuff. But I don't think we have seen enough done to believe that Bongino can just leave and go back to Rumble. And if he thinks, he had what, the 3rd or 4th number 1 watched podcast in America prior to taking on this job. If he thinks he's going to go back there and have the 4th or 5th most watched podcast, he's lost a lot of people. There's a lot of people that don't believe Bongino is who he said he was. And he's not going to be making the money that he was. Okay. Let me see what y'all are saying. Yeah, they looked like exactly. Yes, that's when. Yeah, that was the interview you were talking about. Yes, Christian, that's exactly what I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot of, the old Bongino, and there's going to be people that, kind of like we see for politicians that never really want to believe that they were wrong about somebody. It's the same reason Lindsey Graham keeps getting elected. No one wants to believe that they're wrong about him because there's an R next to his name. But there's going to be a lot of people that are like, oh, no, he did everything he could, let him retire. He spent a year there. And it's like, but what did we get done? That's the thing that's annoying. But I do stand by that. Had we gotten more info, like y'all remember when we were getting updates from the Doge account and from Elon Musk, like every 3 hours we were getting a new tweet saying, here's the contract we found, here's what we've canceled, here's how much money we've saved. Like that's the information that I think we thought we were going to get. Now, again, I think Cash knew this because he had been in that world. I don't think Bongino understood just how much red tape there is and just how much stuff you're not allowed to just put out there on Twitter. But I just don't think he's lost the street cred. There's someone down here. Here we go. 3-year Letterman. I'm not a huge fan of 3-year Letterman. He's got some really terrible sports takes, but I think I agree with this. I don't really know. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit more. Dean, you are Dean. Dan. He must have meant to say Dan. You are a Senate confirmed secretary. You don't get to leave your post until your 4-year term is up or you are impeached. I don't necessarily agree with that. I get where he's coming from. And when you spent the time that you spent, like Dan Bongino did, campaigning for this or telling us what you were going to do, I think we deserve a little bit more than just a year. Well, 7 months, 8 months doing the job. But at the end of the day, it is Bongino's decision on whether or not he wants to leave, and he appears to have made that decision. Now, I'm curious, and I might end up watching the first episode of the new Dan Bongino show. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see him break with anybody, or if we're going to see some stuff that he feels like he can finally talk about. Yes. So Sean, here's the deal. This is so complex, because what we have is this cabal, let's call it, of people from the janitor to hidden people wherever that are, I'm not going to say they are controlling the government, but they are able to maneuver things so that certain stuff doesn't happen. And when I say by that, they're able to tell the ADA and not the ADA, is it ASAC? No, the special agent in charge of the New York field office to hide documents related to the Epstein case. That Cash had to be told. Remember that a lot of this all comes back to that fucking folder. Remember that Cash Patel didn't know about those documents hiding in the New York agent's field, or the agent in charge of the New York field office. He was hiding Epstein documents, and Patel didn't know. And then AG Bondi sends Patel a letter the night after her "they're sitting on my desk" comment, and saying, "Where the fuck are these documents? You have until tomorrow to produce them." To which he then goes and gets them, fires that guy, and lets him just walk out the front door, which I don't agree with. He should have been arrested. So there's a lot of mixture of them kind of peacocking and being like, "Oh, we're going to come in with firepower." And then they just kind of sink into this good old boys, we'll do things the old ways and let you resign with dignity. Like, I'm not about that. I wanted perp walks. I'm not dumb enough to think that we were going to get perp walks of Obama and Clinton and stuff like that. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I wanted perp walks of these people that helped them. And that's, man, they're going to break in my front door, aren't they? Where's my pew-pew? It's too far away from me. I'm going to fix that in about an hour. Casey says, here's my thoughts on Cash and Dan. These two were on podcast before in office on podcast. They were able to have opinions not backed by fact. Now they represent government office. So are you saying that you think that they had opinion A, B, and C? They get into office and then they go, "Oh, we weren't right." And that's why they look like they've lost their street cred? Sean, I got the same message twice from you. They FBI splained. Yeah, again, I don't really understand how without getting all tinfoily hatty, I don't understand how the Epstein stuff could be a national security issue. I see, Sean. 2 tinfoil hat. Compromised. Yeah. Casey says the stuff they used to get away with saying they can't say anymore because they have to use fact-based talking points. Yeah, well, and that's the thing that's kind of annoying is, they've been using, they being federal employees, have been using fact-based talking points for years, and they've just been lying to us. And Sean, that's another thing that I think as well. I think that there is a mixture of these things. And honestly, this side of heaven, we're never going to know what that mixture is. Is it 99 with this, 1% this? Is it 50-50? Is it 40-60? Is it 20-20-60? Like, we're just never going to know. But I do think that I want to trust the plan. Okay. I want to. And I think part of the Epstein stuff has been to get the Democrats to lose political points. But I don't think it's all of it. I do think part of it is a fuck up. Well, yeah, and then, that's what I said in that video when I made a while back, guys, that there's 4 or 5 different reasons that this could be it. And it could be victim is this person or this person, the perpetrator is this person or this person, or combination thereof. But I want to talk about this real quick, and then we're going to move over to John Bolton. Let me see if I can find. If you get Dan Cash in the 3rd most powerful FBI agent at this moment to talk about this year in a decade, I bet they see different. Probably. Oh, dude, that would be. Let's imagine, for the most part, everything works out. And we get our country back, we do all this stuff, yada, yada. We're dancing a jig in 4 years on our 1.2% interest rates, and gas is $1.20, all this stuff. A look back by these people, by, members of the cabinet, it doesn't have to be the whole cabinet, but members of them, like, that would be cool. That would be a hell of a podcast. Interesting. Officer Public Affairs, maybe. Holy shit. Georgia man guilty of 69 counts of dogfighting. Damn. Okay. I'm going to put something up here. I want everybody to behave. Understood? Everybody behave. I try. And then you see something like this and you just go, I mean, the jokes write their own selves. Like, you know what I need to do? Hang on. I need to get a Discord real quick. Isaac, we're just gonna send this over to Isaac556. If y'all aren't already following him over there on his good old channel, every Monday he does a podcast called the Golden Age Podcast. It's all right. There's this one guy they have on a lot called Corn Boy, who's a fucking idiot. But other than that, and the joke of the day goes to Casey Chino. When he grows up, he'll become Isaac762. Okay. So what I'm looking for is the what am I looking for? What happened to John Bolton today? Was he arraigned? No, that was on the 17th. Did I not see something about him today? Is that another indictment? So they charged him without an indictment. I mean, that's not unheard of, but it is weird. Let's see if we can find this indictment. 12, I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? No, what the fuck is this? This indictment is dated October 16th. I talked about this. He was indicted on October 16th. Is this another set of it? Is this another indictment? I'm the lawyer. I should fucking know. Okay. So this is another indictment that he's received yesterday. No, I think we all got faked out. I think we got we and Twitter, I think, got faked out by accounts reposting 2-month-old news. Let's check. Account in Spain. Yeah. Damn. This is too bad. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Where are you based out of? This one says he's based out of the U.S., but he might just be an idiot. Okay. Let's see if we got an update on that status conference. What's the case? U.S. versus John Bolton. Actually, let me look up the criminal number. U.S. criminal court number. TDC. Oh, what is that? That might be a 25 CR 314. Hang on. Okay, is it? Maybe I don't need the. Nope. Wait. Oh, I might be able to look this up on Pacer without needing my login. No, I do need my login. Okay. There are 4 cases against a John. None of them are the John Bolton case. Something vibrating in my apartment. I don't know. Not report crime, publications. Nope. Yeah, I know it's in Maryland. I mean, I guess I could maybe find it on there. U.S. Was that the definitely just one district? Still not getting anything. Case information. Court record. Well, that's requests. I don't want to request anything. Let's check their court calendar. Maybe we'll get something. This is probably in Baltimore. current week. Let's share this. This isn't, and this is all publicly available information. Can I go backwards? I cannot. So we're looking for something with John Bolton on it. I got staff conference in there. Oh, shit. This judge is a lion. Aslan. Nope. 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 See, I feel like something had to have happened today or this week in order for the bots and the foreign accounts to start pushing shit. See, I mean, we got a lot of federal judges here in Maryland. $11 a.m. Other Alacron v. Bondi. I want to look at what that is real quick. Because I bet you Bondi is the AG. Not for publication yet. We're publishing it. Petitioners are natives and citizens of Mexico. They petitioned a review of the Board of Immigration Appeals affirmance of an immigration judge's decision denying their applications for asylum, withholding of removal, and protection under the Convention Against Torture. We have jurisdiction under 8 U.S.C. 152, and we deny the petition. So these people have sued. Honestly, I think Bondi is the wrong person to sue. Huh. Okay, let's finish this off real quick. No, nothing this week. That's weird. I'm gonna have to figure out why this suddenly started being a thing again. Because yeah, I mean, Zero's right. There was a staffs conference 3 weeks ago. But staffs conferences are really only to see where everyone is and whether or not the judge needs to grant a prolonged discovery period, whether or not attorneys on either sides are answering interrogatories, releasing information that has been asked for. That's the main reason for staffs conferences. It wouldn't have, they wouldn't have walked into a staffs conference going, by the way, we got another 20 indictments. So I don't know where this is coming from. But it is, I mean, it was all over Twitter. Yep. Which is too bad because I was going to do like a really big deep dive, and I'm looking because I wanted to figure out whether or not I wanted to figure out whether or not what U.S. attorney presented it. Yeah, and it's getting pretty shitty, isn't it? I'm trying, so I don't have to appear in front of any of the important people with the firm until April. So I'm trying to get it to go as long as possible so I can have kind of a shitty beard for MegaCon and be a little more piratey. But what's up, Lean Back? Love that. All right, so we're actually going to end with this. I'm not sure which. I will not have a peg leg. I mean, it's not great. Let's be honest. It's not a great beer. It's not, you're right. It's not shitty, but I just kind of hate how parts of it tend to like stick together instead of just being like the hair on my head. What am I looking for? So y'all might have seen this week that several states took a settlement with Kia and Hyundai. Hyundai. Oh, that's really fucking bright. So 34 states sued Hyundai and Kia. And it was related to anti-theft technology resulting in numerous car thefts and joyriding incidents across the United States. Now, if you had, let's see, I want to find out what states it were. I know Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and New York were 3 of them. But I have opinions about this. I'm trying to find the states. Okay. Can you just give me the fucking states? Oh my God. Okay. Grok. Give me all 35 states that sued Kia and Hyundai. I added an A in there. Here we go. Okay, apparently, well, what was the name of the fucking lawsuit? How about that? What is the name of the lawsuit? So this must have been, okay, I think this was, it wasn't a lawsuit yet. They reached a settlement without having to actually file documents. Contact, no. FAQs. Fuck it. Okay, let's go with what Grok gave me. Grok gave me a list of these states. There's 35 states plus the lead state, but these are the ones it gave me because apparently no single article lists all of them. California, Colorado, Connecticut. Connecticut was one of the lead states. Delaware, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Washington. That's 15. I happen to know Arizona was one of them. Florida was another. And those are the only ones I know. So this settlement is over the fact that apparently, I guess it was super easy to steal Kias and Hyundais. So this is the list of the Kias and Hyundais. If you had one of these, this is not legal advice. This is not legal advice. If you had one of these cars, you may be eligible for a payout of the settlement. From what I was reading, the payout ranges from about $2,500 to $4,500. No, Sean, not all blue states. Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania is not that orange. I mean, blue, I mean. The fuck? No, so they were from my memory because I've read them in other articles. So other articles talked about Florida and Georgia being part of the lawsuit or the settlement. But yeah, that's tell that to Trump, buddy. That's all, Sean, that's all I'm going to say. I mean, I don't think it's as blue as a lot of people say it is. Now, obviously, depending on where you are in Pennsylvania, could determine that. I mean, if you're sitting there in Philadelphia, yeah, super fucking blue. But yeah, if you had one of these, you go to this website and yeah. But this all has to do with there wasn't like a specific type of safety feature in it to keep people from stealing it. So this is where I'm at on this. This is a little weird to me because I feel like what we're doing is, in this case, is we're blaming the manufacturer, but not blaming the car thief. Now, manufacturers do have a duty that's been determined to, do what they can to make sure your stuff isn't easily stolen and things like that. Like, they're supposed to try and safeguard your stuff from being robbed. But at the end of the day, I still think this is a little silly. I'm wondering what y'all think. Yeah, Hokey is like, I'm with you. Here's a crazy idea. Arrest the people stealing the car. I agree. Let's arrest the people committing the crime. Oh, Leanback says it's silly. I think we're gonna finish there. I don't know if I'm gonna have a video tomorrow. I think that, Sean, I think they're taking the position that the manufacturer built their vehicles without taking into consideration or without properly adding all the safety features that should have been expected or something like that. I don't know if I'm going to have a video out tomorrow. I've got a lot of work to do in the morning, and I do need to actually get into work early. So this might be the first Friday without video. Maybe I'll make a video on this Fifth Circuit decision yesterday about gun bans. It's a pretty big deal. But yeah, everyone, thank you all so much for being here. I had a lot of fun tonight. Having 20 plus people in here is really going to help with the hours, and I love it. I appreciate it. Anyone that's just dropping likes, just stopping in and say hi, it's beyond appreciated. We're going to get there. It's going to be a great 2026. I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. I know next Thursday is Christmas Day. I don't think we'll go live on Christmas Day. But maybe we have a Friday show. If Jay has a Welcome to the Rebellion, maybe we have a 10 o'clock hour. between his show and Geeks and Gamers. Who knows? I will definitely let y'all know. But until then, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I hope y'all have a great time with your families. And I want you to know it is very appreciated y'all being